played earlier that clip of Joe Aston saying people who talk about being poor seem to love most the perks of success. I don't know if that's true. But Anthony Albanese, I've got to say, all these freebie upgrades from Qantas, allegedly even asking for them. There's another example, and that one spells real trouble for him. It's the British Prime Minister, like Will Kingston said earlier, Keir Starmer, same thing. He grew up working class, father a toolmaker, mother a nurse, often sick, made good, that's very nice, very good. But boy, does this socialist like his freebies too. He took $100,000 in free clothes and glasses from a donor, and that much again in free accommodation, free tickets to concerts like Taylor Swift's. And what a coincidence! Albanese got free Taylor Swift concerts tickets too. And I wonder if he'll now suffer the same fate as Starmer, because Starmer has seen his approval ratings totally collapse in just 4 months, from a positive 11% to a negative 38%. Joining me from London is writer, broadcaster and columnist Esther Krakue. Esther, great to see you. Free gear Starmer is now called. How much does it hurt Starmer to be taking so many freebies?
Oh, it's hurt him immensely. I mean, he looks like the ultimate hypocrite, not least because he would have been the first person to deride the Tories if a similar scandal came out about a Tory prime minister. You will be amazed to find out that after this freebie scandal, not one single media outlet asked Keir Starmer what he agreed to in exchange of all these free gifts. And that's what I find incredible, because it's not just about getting £100,000 worth of free gifts or having, Lord Ali give you £5,000 as a wardrobe budget for your wife, even though he can comfortably afford it. It is, what did he agree to do, or what favors did he agree to give in exchange for all this free stuff? And for some reason, asking that question is completely taboo. He just accepted free stuff because, he has very generous friends. I'm happy to let you know that if you wanted 24-hour unfettered access to Downing Street, the going rate now apparently is £500,000, £500,000, which is what Lord Ali donated to the Labour Party to get unfettered access to 10 Downing Street. I mean, these are the kinds of things that have come out in the media that have really hurt Keir Starmer's reputation, and it's just gone downhill from here. We're all sort of holding our breath, waiting for the budget to come out tomorrow. But, the Labour Party at the moment, and Keir Starmer in particular, his leadership is unredeemable, because not only did he remove the winter fuel payments from pensioners, some of the most vulnerable and poorest in society, but he's gone back on many of his promises. Now, apparently landlords and people that provide essential services are not working people, which is giving him the green card to tax them to high heaven. And, many people are thinking, you're happy to tax us, but you're also happy to take £100,000 worth of free gifts and act like it's nothing. I mean, when he says his father was a toolmaker, yeah, it looks like he made a tool.
I got to say, where's the pride? I'd be too embarrassed to take gifts like that. You'd feel sort of unmanned to take it. But is it true, you're such a wise observer of human nature, Esther, is it true that politicians who boast that they came from nothing are actually keener to have everything?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you look at Keir Starmer, he has a history of just being effectively a public servant or public worker. He's never started a business. He has no real sort of private sector experience. And that's the thing with these politicians. They like to boast about their working class credentials, but they've never built anything. They've never really done anything of any import. And this is why they tend to run the countries that they manage into the ground, because they don't understand private enterprise or business or, managing a family but off your own hard work. They just suck off the teat of the government and government financing. And you can see that with Keir Starmer, the fact that he's had to brag endlessly about being a working class man. I mean, I personally find it bizarre, because you never really hear people from the third world, actually poorer countries, bragging about being working class. Like I would never say, oh yeah, I at one point in my life I lived in a mud hut. But for some reason they use it as a badge of honor and then end up taking thousands of pounds in freebies from people. It's completely ludicrous.
Look, here's an interesting contrast there that I've wondered about. I mean, we've got polls suggesting that Americans, of course, are going to make Donald Trump their president next week. We'll see. I think they probably will. But 2/3 of British people polled say they want him to lose. The same story in Australia in a couple of polls. I think it's the same is true in most Western European countries. Why is Trump so popular in the US, so unpopular outside it?
Well, Well, it's because our media class, who see themselves as the arbiters of polite society, just cannot fathom the idea that this man might actually be popular domestically. And these are the same people that also ignore the concerns of most Britons, by the way. I mean, the same Keir Starmer that's saying that we should face reality and be happy to face a tighter budget is also happy to spend millions of pounds a day to house illegal immigrants in hotels when there are thousands of homeless people, homeless British people on our streets who are lining the pavements and platforms and train stations across the country that don't get a second look at. So it's these people are just completely disconnected from reality, but they're also disconnected from the rest of the country, and it seems by extension the average American. But I don't think that's going to stop them. Thankfully, the British media class, and I suspect the Australian media class, don't vote in American elections because the world would be doomed.
I wonder if it's in part to do with the fact that we tend to send foreign correspondents, generally left-leaning, to report these America to us, and they do it from very left-wing centres like New York, Washington and Los Angeles. They don't report from the Midwest or anything like that, places that are Republican heartlands.
Yes, exactly. And I think there's an element of genuine disdain for middle America and the kinds of people that would vote for Trump. And for me, what surprises me is the lack of critical thinking. You don't have to necessarily agree with Trump or even like him or even vote for him to understand where people that would vote for him are coming from. I'm sorry, it's not like that he's exactly facing a stellar candidate in Kamala Harris. The argument that amongst 350 million people, she or he are the best that America has to offer is quite dubious. But again, these are not actual journalists. They're activists. And that's a sad thing to see. People used to tune into the media to be informed, not to be told what to think. But apparently having people that think for themselves is too much of a risk to run. So they send these left-leaning activists and portray this image that it's completely unconscionable to vote for someone like him, which I don't think is that simple or even true.
Well, in the end, Americans will be forgiven for voting for someone who says America first and make America great, is running as the president of America, not of the rest of the world. Esther Krakue, thank you so much. Always great to talk to you. See you next week.